Well, I'm so grateful that you have chosen to hang out with us in this live read of Junebug. I know that, we are in a humongous gateway of change, right? Personally, collectively, humanity. We're standing in a gateway of change as we move from Pisces to Aquarius. And the plight of women, right? The plight of our children is ours to change, right? So through conversation, through interactions like these, we're opening doors for others to have that conversation. So thank you. And we're going to continue right on with Junebug. Junebug. Now today, Mr. Starling has on his counseling hat. We've been spending some time together looking at colleges, and he knows that things are tough at home. And he's trying to help me find a way to be able to afford it on my own without Dad's help, right? He knows I won't get any help from my parents. And scholarships are definitely in the cards, but I've always been a good student, right? He's going to be disappointed with what I need to talk to him about today. And as I sit across from him, I struggle to find the words. He's put so much time and effort into me. There's nothing to do but just start talking. Mr. Starling, I have sort of changed my mind about what I need to do. What do you mean, he asks. Well, I'm thinking about beauty school. What? He's stunned. We take in a deep breath and I continue on. Things aren't good at home, not good at all. And I'm going to need a way to provide for me and Sam. I need money and I need it fast. Now, I've been spending some time at the cut and curl watching, and I'm sure I can do it. I've been practicing on my friends and already have gotten a few referrals from people. I work on them in the kitchen at home. It takes less than a year, and then maybe we can get away from here. His eyes are filled with compassion. He knows how badly I wanted to continue on with school. My dreams of a psychology degree are floating downstream, but he understands how much energy it's taken to get to this place, how much I am giving up. I don't see any other way, I explain. I'm sure he can hear the resignation in my voice. He switches gears and dives into finding me the best beauty school in the metropolitan area. Now the plan is put into motion. He even offered to help with the student loan paperwork, knowing, right, if he doesn't, no one will. As I'm leaving the office, I smile to myself. There is one kind man on the planet. If things can just hold out for the months it'll take to get through beauty school. Now it's time for the rest of my plan. I need a car. The school we decided on is in the city. I only know one way to come up with the money quickly. It's time to have that talk with Ginger. I'm dreading it. So I decide we could both use a nice ride before the hard stuff, for old time's sake. So in the feedlot, I find Ginger taking an afternoon nap, and I begin talking softly. I don't want to sneak up on her. That's never fun, getting startled from a nice rest. I know about that from experience. As she stirs, I stroke her gently. Hey, sweet girl, I croon. You want to go play for a while? Ginger never turns down a romp through the woods, so I throw a halter on her and she backs up to the familiar stump. I climb on her bareback. I want to feel her beneath me, the warmth of her body, that connection, the connection that's only ours. It might be one of the last times. Winding our way through the trees, I become aware of all the sounds. I can hear the small animals scurrying from our path, leaves rustling, birds singing in the trees. Everything seems so happy. They don't know what I have to do. They don't understand that our adventures are coming to an end. A tear leaks from my eye. I can't start crying. I wipe it away quickly and I begin to talk about anything I can think of, anything other than what's hanging in the air. In the guise of protecting Ginger, I'm pulling out all the stops to distract myself. Ginger glances back over her shoulder, making sure I'm hanging on tight as she begins to pick up speed. I lean in close in preparation for the creak. Flying. Will I ever feel this again? I need to savor it, store away the feeling. Will I ever have a connection with another living being like we have now? Oh, I push the thoughts from my mind as the familiar feeling in my belly takes center stage. It never lasts quite long enough, the feeling of being suspended in air, as if time stops for a second. If only I could stop time just long enough for us to disappear. The sound of the leaves crunching as we touch down on the other side makes me smile in spite of the situation. So keeping up the momentum, we quickly find ourselves at the top of the hill, the cliffs up ahead. I throw my leg over Ginger's head and slide off, and I touch down softly in the cushion of thick grass. Ginger drops her head and begins to enjoy her snack. A sad smile flitters across my face. What will I say? Oh, by the way, sorry, Ginger. We've had a lot of fun, but I'm trading you in for a new car. It sounds pretty lame, but it's true. Pushing away the inevitable for a time, I settle into my customary spot on the cliff. The air is filled with looming dread, and the strength has drained from my body. It just isn't fair. Not that I really expect fair, but this is too much to ask. How can I put a price on my best friend? She's the only one that's ever been there for me through thick and thin. No person has ever even come close to that in my world. Ginger's the only one to take up for me ever. Dad and Vernon on their heads every time they try to get on her. She thinks they're both stupid. She's always there waiting for me at the stump when I need to escape fast. No, this cannot be happening. And I lose control completely. The tears are just coming in a torrent, and I feel like a traitor. I close my eyes for a moment to catch my breath. Sensing a presence above me, I open my eyes to the teacher. He's reaching for my hand and helps me to my feet. He draws me into a comforting embrace, wrapping my arms around him. I snuggle my face into his chest and allow my emotions free rein. As my tears begin to ebb, the teacher takes my chin and lifts my face. His look is full of compassion. The locked up words begin to spill from my lips. This is too much. I can't do this. This is worse than all the rest put together. She has been such a true friend to me. She knows just what I need, and she helps me get away. She knows what he does to me. No one else knows, just her. I need someone to know it all. I can't bear losing her. Running out of breath with the gush, I pause. The teacher pats my back and gently leads me to a soft place in the grass beneath a grand old oak tree. Sitting cross-legged before me, he says, "June, things are always changing. The universe is in constant motion. You are a really fast learner, a prized pupil. Your world is spinning and changing faster than most. The scenery needs to change for the game to progress. Now, pain comes in resisting that. Things can't stay the same and change at the same time." I nod my head in understanding. It still hurts. I know, little one. Your friend has other work to do now, too. Her work with you is done. You are at a fork in the road, and it's time for the two of you to go your separate ways. Clinging to what life places around us is what causes the hurt. Love her enough to let her go. She does you. She knows what you need. Allow June, and with a wink towards Ginger. She knows already, June. Telling her is really just for you. I know he's right, but I don't like it. As if reading my thoughts, he adds, it doesn't mean that what you have to do is going to be easy, but out of the pain, good things will grow. Find your strength, June. Call on the powers available to you. You have everything you need right in here. And he points to that place where my heart is held. Clinging will only bring the slumber. Be very careful of the slumber, June. And with that, his image begins to fade away. Using everything I can muster, I push myself to a standing position and slowly take the few steps, closing the distance between Ginger and me. She's still enjoying her afternoon snack. Her head is buried in the grass. I fight back the tears that threaten to spill over as I stroke her face. You have some special work to do with another family. I talk through a giant lump in my throat. Maybe you'll be lucky and the little girl will have a nice daddy this time. They might even have a real barn with stalls where you can get in out of the rain and snow. And maybe some pasture of your own. You can just graze whenever you want. That would be nice. The little girl might even like to fly as much as I do. Maybe they'll even have a creek. Oh my God, I have to buy a car, Ginger. I choke. I'm so sorry. I have to get Sam away from here, sweet girl. Now the tears. I share all that the teacher has told me. Ginger shows understanding by nuzzling me with her nose. We both know now what has to be done. I glance around, taking in my beloved space. I know somehow that this too is part of the changing scenery. A chapter is closing. We take the ride home slowly. The sparkle has faded from my beloved woods. There's no flying over our creek. The clouds very heavy over both of us, as if everything around us has joined in our mourning. The quiet engulfs us. There are no leaves crunching. The birds have stopped singing. The leaves are even drooping on the trees as if waving goodbye, as if knowing we will never cross this path again. Now, in Dad's world, there's a strict set of rules that he lives by. They aren't everyone else's rules, but they are his. Now, if I buy the car with my own money, it's mine. He won't touch it. He won't take my keys. But if he puts one dime into the car, he's going to claim himself part owner. And then we'll have say, right? He'll be able to say no. So creating the plan to approach him with selling my horse has to be strategic. There's a 50-50 chance he'll consider the money his. I might lose Ginger and still be trapped here with no escape. I have to catch him in just the right mood with just the right amount of liquid gold. I need him to remember. I've had a conversation with one of Dad's friends, Tom. He's one I kind of trust. He owns a used car lot, and he said he would help me find something. On one hand, I'm super excited as long as I don't think about the how. So I hang up the phone. There are a couple of cars that he thinks are going to be good for me. So I jump at the opening. Mom gives me the keys to her car, and I rush over to see what will be the next means of escape. After looking them both over, my favorite, hands down, is a pearly sky blue Mustang with white leather interior. I figure with what I've saved, along with the tack and the sale of Ginger, I'll have enough. Ironically, a Mustang. I'm trading a live horse for a metal one. Seems God has a way of playing these little tricks to see if I'm paying attention. having a car already picked out, and it's going to help my case for sure with Dad. Because Dad loves cars, especially really cool cars. He's going to like the idea of the Mustang. My plan's to get him all caught up in the details and gloss over the money part without much notice. That's my plan. I do my research, learn all that I can about the stuff that the boys pay attention to, like the engine size, the horsepower. I'm hoping to impress him a little bit, right? And I asked Tom to put the figures in writing so that I won't get confused when Dad starts grilling me. I borrow my mother's Polaroid and ask Tom to take a snapshot of me standing next to the Mustang. Ready, set, go. He loves the car. In spite of himself, he loves the car. And I can read it on his face, though his mind moves quickly to the money. Where are you going to get that kind of money? You can't afford something like this, he says. I quietly show him the figures Tom has written down for me. He's impressed with the deal, but I'm still not sure where you're going to get the money. My eyes instantly drop to the floor. I thought I'd sell Ginger. I got it out without tears. The tears would send this in a different direction instantly. Dad hates tears, so I move on quickly. With what I've saved working and the money from selling Ginger in my tack, I should have enough. I have to be able to get back and forth to school, Dad. What about all the money I've spent feeding that damn thing? I appreciate all you've done for us, but I won't be able to go to school without a car. So you're going to throw away your job at the Kroger? I recently got promoted to checkout clerk. You're in the union now, right? This would make a good life. I'll be good at that. I'll be good at this, and it won't cost you anything. I'll work as much as I can. I have student loans for the tuition, please. I beg him. And for some reason, after eyeing me up, he agrees. I'll put an ad in the paper this week. The next stage of my plan is in motion. The Ginger's gone, and the car's in the drive. Emotions are stirred up. There's no one to talk to tell my deepest secrets. Mel Horse is a lot of fun too. The scenery is changing. After finally standing my ground with Dad, it seemed things have calmed down at home for a second. Money is at an all-time low for me. I thought things at home might be stable enough to move in with a new friend from beauty school. She lives in the city, not too far from the school. Gas is eating me alive, driving the 45 miles back and forth every day. I decide to run the plan past Mom. I'm trying to gauge if Sam's going to be okay without me. Hey, Mom, can I talk to you for a sec? I guide her into the kitchen and take a seat at the table, indicating for her to do the same. Gail's mom has invited me to stay with them during the week. I can save some money on gas and come home on the weekends and work. He's never going to go for that, she says, shaking her head vigorously. I really don't care. I need to do this, or I don't know how I'll be able to stay in school. I need to know that you and Sam will be okay. I can't live here without you, June. You're going to have to, Mom. Sam needs you. I won't always be here. You knew this day would come sometime. I have to do this. I can't work enough to pay for the gas. Together, we decide it's worth a shot. I throw a few things in a bag, grab my toothbrush, and try to get the stuff packed in the car before Dad notices. I put the suitcase in the back seat and close the door. I take a big, deep breath. I might actually get away with it. Excitement at the possible freedom begins to tingle in my belly. I'm going to get out of here before he notices. Just as I'm pulling open the driver door, he shows up out of nowhere and grabs my arm, spinning me around to face him. Where do you think you're going? My mind races, searching for the perfect words. Well, Dad, I'm having some money trouble, and I thought I'd stay with a friend in the city for a while to save on gas. What? You think you're leaving and moving up there? I thought I would, yeah, just during the week, though. I'll be home on the weekends so I can work. I can't really afford not to do this, Dad. You're not going anywhere. I'm going to have to drop out of school if I stay here. That's not my problem. I said, you're not going anywhere. He's getting more agitated by the minute, and the pressure on my arm is increasing. I really need to do this. My voice seems to have risen an octave. Panic, pain, and disappointment are fighting to take control of my body. He steps back, glaring at me. I can tell he's thinking, weighing it out. Well, I'll tell you what. If you do this, if you leave this house, you will never see Sam again. I will take him and leave, and you will never find us. I'll leave the country if I have to. You are your mother. You will never see him again. You can't do that. Watch me. The bile is rising in my throat. It's now my turn to do the weighing. As much as I want to get in that car and drive away, I can't let him have Sam. That can't happen under any circumstance. My newfound power seems to have been sucked away. I work to breathe. I unload my car. My arms feel weak. My shoulders are sagging. I guess it means I'm working every minute I'm not in school. I'm back in town in the evenings by about 6:30. I can just head straight there. I'll be done before long. Only a few months left. I'll just ask for more hours at work. I can't quit school or we'll never get out of here. I can go to Grandma's anytime I want, now that I have wheels. And I show up there sometimes in the middle of the night. I pull into the drive and I summon my nerve. I'm going to tell her this time. Maybe she can help me get out of here. I gently take Cherie down from her favorite perch on my shoulder and set her in my lap. Take the keys from the ignition and I sit there. I'm not sure how long, mindlessly stroking Cherie. Finally, I open the car door, and with her in my arms, we walk slowly down the drive. I can feel Grandma stir with the squeak of the old metal gate, and I inch my way up the sidewalk and maneuver the few steps up onto the porch through the dark. As my hand reaches for the old screen door, she's already pushing it open from the other side. Each time, always the same, she immediately pulls me in, throws her arms around me as she leads me into the house. She guides me into her bedroom. It's so late, we don't want to wake all the kids. We take our seats on the edge of the bed, her arms still around my shoulder. What is it, Junebug? What happened? No matter how hard she tries to get me talking, I just sit there, not a word. How can I tell her? What if I cause her to have a heart attack like Mom warns? Rocking back and forth, staring at the floor, Cherie still in my arms. In the end, I stand and look into her eyes for the first time. If she even for a second thought, no, I can't risk it. I can't risk it. I better get back now. I just really need to get back. Sam needs me. He has school tomorrow. Why don't you just stay here till morning? Get some rest and I will get you up really early. I'm already shaking my head now. I have to get home to Sam. What happened? Had something happened, June? I have to get home. If Dad wakes up and finds me gone, he might take Sam away. I reach for her and I hug her tight. I just have to go, Grandma. Thank you. I love you so much. She tries to stop me. She tries to get me to tell her why she sees terror in my eyes. I won't. It's the after that's so scary. What happens after you talk out loud about these horrible things? What happens tomorrow? I think that's a good stopping point for today. So you can pick up your copy for, to read along with me here or with your loved ladies in your family. And you can pick up your copy on Amazon, Junebug, Cherie, Doyen. And I look forward to seeing you back here. Have a great day.